Yeah.
No, I'm liking the polish so far. I mean, like, sure, it's just a spit shine, but
Like, what they've got working this vertical slice at the moment is actually working pretty good.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just in here. Sorry. Just yeah. Yeah. Just doing a yeah. Yeah. Very well fitted on the card. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Never mind that, guys. I was just oh, a new player has actually joined us.
Holy shmoly.
His name is the username PT Alpharus Alfred Alfrio. Yeah. And a very, very
Just call
interesting.
me Axios for short, or Tiber. I met Epsilon.
Oh, hello, welcome.
Hello, friend.
I played with some of you guys. I played with some of the boss people in the channel before. I just hopped in because no one from my guild's on, so.
Oh, there's a cyclone.
Alright, my cyclone's ready.
Holy moly.
What are you guys up to?
Oh, it's so beautiful.
I'll unlock it too, in case it isn't unlocked.
See.
It's probably locked,
Also on the
yeah.
passenger side.
Sure. Hopped right in. Unlocking. It's also got the openable exterior.
Wow, look at this. This is crazy.
Let's go.
What a beautiful car. It would be nice if we would lock the camera. I really don't want the camera constantly wobbling around and
How do
yeah.
I zoom in and out of my ship from outside view?
Whoops. I was actually driving this with Wolf. It was absolutely awesome. We had such a long drive on Cella.
Oh, really?
But it exploded because I... yeah. Yeah, there's also that Galaxy Quest line saying, I heard that. It turned inside out?
And then it exploded.
Exploded.
It was fun.
And it exploded?
Hold, please.
That is one of the best movies.
Yeah.
Highly underrated.
Yeah, I gotta admit, the guys that saying, I am Mathazar.
Oh, fucking, yes. I think the Thermians, the little squid aliens that disguise themselves as weirdos in jumpsuits. They are possibly the most adorable squids I've ever seen. They're all like, oh my god, please excuse us, we weren't wearing our image modifiers.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. You'll never eat squid again after seeing that.
Just, oh man, so many top-notch scenes in that film. And the bad guy.
Calamari.
What a cool bad guy. He's like a crustacean, but he's also like really mean dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, top-notch movie.
Alright.
It's like, what if Star Trek was as camp as people think it is?
Okay,
Did you want me to lower the lift?
sure.
Okay.
All right.
All right, hop in,
Sounds like it's all
Solara.
working out.
Swap seats as well. I'll lower the lift.
Okay. Okay.
Standing by.
Yeah, this is so fun.
So, is there a system-wide radar pinging system in this game yet? Can I send out my location and GPS coordinates to
Oh yeah.
anyone?
Oh,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
you can do that now. But you cannot specify who you want to send it to. It's gonna blast the entire instance.
Cool.
So
Almost
Yeah, I
got it.
dig that.
if you want someone to
Careful,
get
Solara.
the beacon,
Careful.
you'll have to be very fast. I mean, they'll have to be very fast to catch your beacon.
Well, that's right, because unless they can get there in time to read my IR or my heat waves, they're not going to fucking, pardon my French, they're not going to read my location and trajectory. So I could just set up traps, or we could set up traps as a group and organize jump points where people will end up, where we could just murder.
Oh, it's going in pretty well. Yep, there it is.
I like the
Careful
idea
not
of
to
that.
run me over.
Don't run him down.
This is very sensitive on the controls.
Alright, well done, Solara. I try to straighten it up a little bit as well, but try and get it a little bit more to the left, try and get some space in between the driver's seat and the wall on the left.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, just back up a little bit more.
Well, I've landed at Kudra Org, and things are going well.
Solara, you can turn the wheels right.
You know, I'm gonna have to find some way to disable the joystick from the controls because my joystick is somehow.
Oh yeah, joystick is not recommended in that.
Yes, I'm gonna say I have to go to the options menu and disable that.
Yeah. Actually, I'll get in the vehicle actually and position it.
Okay, let me just stand up then. Alright. Yes, it might be safer if you do it. I don't want to mess up your vehicle.
That's alright. Now, hopefully, if I can get in through here, you see, here's the thing: like, if you have enough space for you to get in, that's a good thing. Oh, it keeps becoming invisible quickly. Now, let's just see if I can.
All right. What sells for a good amount at Olisar?
Not exactly
okay.
sure.
Agricium, beryl, quartz, gold, tungsten.
Let me see what we have here. I know I had a few helpful trades.
Yeah, if there's any way of finding out what
Okay,
Switch's
shutting
best
off.
exchange rate, that'd be great. There's no
Okay,
galactic
so
economy
if you go
yet.
from
Okay,
Agricium from
I've shut off
Grimhex
the
to
engines
Olisar,
and we are ready.
waste from Olisar to Levski, and iodine from Levski to Olisar. Those would be the best. Otherwise, you want to do the illegal stuff. That's even the most lucrative. That's
What's the
Widow.
best from Daymar?
Alright, Solara, we're ready to take off.
Dimar. I
Because I'm
don't
at Kudra
know
Org.
anything from Dimar. I don't think it's the profits are worth it. Oh, okay. Did you want me to pilot the ship, Chris?
Yeah, I don't think the profit's really worth it. All right.
Okay, I'll take us off. Alright, getting into pilot's seat.
Welcome to
I mean,
Robert
the
Space
co-pilot
Industries.
seat.
Enjoy the ride. System
Might as well just go to Levski.
Heading on engine.
All right, I'm off to Levski.
landing gear raised.
Happy flying.
Thank you. Oh, your lift is down, Chris. You might want to close the door.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah, man, you wanna? Whew, don't enter. Oh, imagine the ship breaking up when it was going out the atmosphere.
Oh no. Alright.
That
Whoa,
would be
good frame
terrible.
rates here. That's good.
Yeah, I'm getting top-notch frame rates all over the place. Quite fun.
Okay. I suppose we can go to somewhere like Daymar, perhaps. Oh, and I did notice that the
I'm going to
constellation Taurus is probably a little bit slower. Is probably is probably slower than the
Yes.
other
Cargo.
constellations. But
Yes, it's the cargo.
but it does have the cargo capacity to fit 2 rovers, or maybe even 3 cyclones.
Oh, nice, really.
It can actually fit 2 vehicles in it. It's really good. Approaching 500. And we are pretty good. Okay. Selecting destination. Okay.
Alrighty, I'm gonna make my way over to Levski. Sorry, pardon me, Solara. What did you say the best thing to get from Levski was?
Okay, so from this, you want to get iodine
Iodine.
and then take it to Olisar. But Daymar, I haven't found anything. You know what? Let me look it up real quick. I want to see what the prices are. 1 minute.
I'm leaving Daymar now, but it would be nice to know. I'm gonna make my way to Levski to get iodine and then head back to Olisar.
Yes, I'll find the prices. 1 minute.
I'm gonna head towards Daymar.
We'll probably cross quantum paths at some point.
Okay, on Daymar, which station did you want to go to? Do you
I
want
was
to
at
do?
Kutra Ore. It's my favorite
Okay,
so far.
Kutra or Okie dokie. And you
But
wanted to
last
go to
time I
Port
did a
Olisar
run.
from Daymar?
Yeah, Olisar from Daymar.
Okay. Okay, so there's 4 things you might want to do, but the best profit per minute would be
Oh
Agricio.
shit! Something's wrong. My
Agricio.
view is. Oh, Solara, something's wrong. I can't get out of my rear view
Oh no.
for some reason.
Let's see. Is it? Let's see. Are we heading to Olisar? Okay. Are you able to now? If you change your view. Oh, press F1.
Autopilot is now off.
I can't. I literally can't do it. It's.
Uh-oh. Are we disconnected from the server?
It's. Something's wrong with the controls. It's
Can
really.
you maneuver the ship? Are you able to maneuver the ship?
No,
No.
not at all. I'm not even able to get out.
Not a good sign.
Okay. All right, Chris. What you need to do is you need to
There's always
pull your
something to
internet
ruin it.
cable.
Oh, sorry?
Pull the internet cable,
Pull the internet cable?
the cat
Well,
find cable. And then you're gonna get a recovery option.
Alright, pull the
That way
internet
you'll
cable.
log back into the ship.
I don't know if I should pull. Wait.
Press-
Pull the
So
physical
don't pull the
cable?
network cable. What you want to do is do the Control Alt Delete and close out of the
Control-Alt.
application.
Press out. Press out of the application. Sign out.
Or you can sign out of Windows and then log back into Windows and relaunch everything again. and then you're going to get an option to recover the game. Majestic, if you get the Agresium, your profit per minute is 1.45 multiplier.
Ooh,
But
damn! I've already started going to Delamar.
let
Alright.
me see. Yeah, the last updated prices was April 14th, so that should be working just fine.
I can't believe
The
my
profit
game
margin
just
is
did
only 6%, but if you actually are doing calculating the flight time and everything, it comes out to be 1.45, 145% per minute.
Okay.
So my profits would be
Launching
0.45.
game again.
So yeah, that's nearly 50%.
145%.
That's nearly 50%.
145% profit per minute.
Oh, profit. Oh. Ooh.
Yes, your profit's going to be 145% per minute.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
That's
that's
pretty
the
good.
most lucrative right now.
All
That's
right,
the
I'm
most
going to finish
lucrative
up my
legal
Delamar
run.
run, and then I'm going to slide right back into Olisar, sell this iodine. I'm going to
Okay.
skip on out over
Okay,
to Kudra
I'm
or into
back.
the Agresium.
Guys?
Hey, man.
We'll wait. Alright. So,
Chris,
I'm clicking on Crusader, joining
don't
friends.
click on Crusader. Don't click on Crusader. Do you see a blue message?
Blue message? No. No, I don't see any
See
blue
a blue
message.
It doesn't say left bracket. Like there's no left. I mean, it doesn't give you an option to press the left bracket to recover the game.
No.
Does it say? Does it say persistent universe or something like what? What does the option say on the menu right now?
It just says this, but there's... Hold on, I'll just take a screenshot and post it. Hold on just a moment. Posting screenshot. This is what's coming up. Yeah. I can't believe that I lost my own ship.
Okay,
All because
try
of
and
some
click
stupid glitch.
try and click go back at the bottom.
Okay.
Click that go back button.
Yeah.
Now,
Go back.
now do you see a blue sign on the right of the screen?
No. Nothing.
Didn't
Really?
work.
Okay.
I might be able to, hang on.
It looks like
I
you're
might
gonna
be
end up in
able to,
Olisar then, or
Damn.
left. You're gonna end up at Levski.
God damn it, I did all of this for nothing.
No, I'm gonna try and I'll fly the Connie back too. I'm still in the Connie, so
Unless it despawns.
Yeah, it
the
may.
problem is that you're in the pilot seat and
Let me
oh
try and
Don't
no.
shoot
join.
him. Yeah, don't shoot him. You'll get that criminal history.
I'll try and join again. Alright, joining server.
I'm so sorry, Chris. I
I
thought they
hate
got
this.
this. See,
I
the
hate the
problem is
controls
they
in
haven't
this.
got it down where.
For some reason, I get into this permanent state where I can't even do anything at all. And after all that time that I took, after all that effort I put into it, just to get my rover. And they have the audacity to do that to me.
This game. It's gonna break you.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going... I mean, if it happens to me any longer, I feel like I'm just gonna go mad permanently.
The maddening.
It does have a tendency to induce that feeling.
Yeah, create situations for sure.
Okay. Oh, I'm back in the ship. Holy shit. Good news, guys. I'm back.
In the ship?
In the ship.
You reloaded into the same instance? Oh my
Oh,
goodness. Dude, that is like second coming of Jesus level of lucky.
Yeah. But
Like he,
even I
he
wouldn't
died
go
and then he
by
was
his.
resurrected.
Even I wouldn't go by his, well, standards.
Dude,
So,
you
Chris,
returned to
where
the
are
same
you?
place.
Where are you
Yeah.
now? You're at Levski?
Yep. Oh, and good news is I'm also recording and I can see the record thing. Well, that was a good fix. I'm not at Levski, no. I'm now at.
You loaded into the ship? Are you in
Yep.
the ship?
I'm in the ship and I'm driving.
Oh, that is wonderful.
Okay. Now all I have to do here is select
Finally.
Yella, then or select a random planet, and then select Daymar. Hold on. Huh. I can't believe it. I actually fixed the damn thing.
Nice one, bro. This is probably the smoothest, least buggy time I've ever landed at Levski.
That's pretty
So
good.
happy Chris was able to get back to the game and where he left off. That is very important feature. I'm very
Yeah.
happy.
Quantum drive is
Wait.
now
You know,
online.
Now
you know,
the
if you guys like,
Navicom computer shows you a video of the person talking to you. At Levski, there's like a
dude,
guy
I'm
with
recording a
dreadlocks.
gameplay.
That's awesome.
What? Why does this happen at the most? Yeah, you don't need to state the obvious. Jeez. Oh, sorry, I wasn't talking to you guys. I was talking to someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris, when you logged in, did you click on one of our names to log in, or did you just log
Yeah,
into
that's
any
it.
server?
If I log into one of your usernames, if something happens. Now, if something happens, if I actually sign out, if I press Control Alt Delete and sign out of my username, my desktop username, I'll be able to, yeah, I'll be able to just be able to do that. It's pretty good.
Oh, I'm just so happy you're able to make it back. Wow, that's great.
Yeah. So if I log out, yeah, I might
Okay,
be able to rejoin.
no, actually, Chris, if you intentionally log out, it's better that I think you got to go to the bed. You have to log out of the
Yeah,
bed,
I was thinking that. Yeah,
and
Alright,
then
bad news.
names, and you'll spawn back into the.
sure. I
Yeah,
hope.
Levski
I
runs at
hope
about
my.
19 frames a second
I
at
just hope
best.
my I just hope that my cyclone is still good.
Oh, I'll check. Oh, this is wonderful, though. I really am glad that we can still continue the mission. That really helps. Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's less of a kick in the teeth.
and you know what? Your cyclone's still here.
Hey,
Yay.
iodine. Do, 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 do.
I'll probably have to stop the ship as well. So I'll have to come to a halt. Alright. Alright. I'm gonna have to log out in one of the beds.
Yes, you'll have to log out in one of the beds.
But just look after the ship, alright?
Okay. Oh,
Alright.
let's just.
I'll just turn the engines off for now. And then I'll just get out of my seat. And then I'll just leave it to you. Alright.
I'll wait for
Take-
you.
Alright. Take good care and don't run into any trouble.
All right, my
Or
friend.
asteroids.
See you later.
Alright. I'll just be sleeping as well. Just gotta get into bed. And logging out.
Alright, Captain's taking a nap.
In my coffin. I'm a vampire.
In the sleepy. In your solar shield.
Okay. Well, guys, I'll be back in a moment. Probably
Okay.
say the next hour or so. But
Okay.
yeah, just take care and make sure my constellation is intact as well.
Okay. Did
But if
did you want me to
anything,
try to did you want me to try to land at any particular station or?
you could land it at say Arcorp, or say the Jev wreck. Try
Oh,
that place.
maybe I better land it at Olisar just to be safe.
Okay.
Because what if you come back and none of us are
Yeah.
online, and then you may not be able to get in the same
Yeah.
instance?
Or it's best to keep it in the air, probably. I guess.
Well,
Some-
I think it's better we go to Olisar just because
Yeah.
the thing is,
Yeah.
if you don't get in the same instance, you may lose,
Yeah.
and plus your cyclones in your ship. Yeah.
Yeah. And if my ship gets despawned and restored,
Oh
then
no.
the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you're
Anyways.
recording. Yeah, that's
Well, anyways, I'll be back.
all right, dear.
Engines are off. Engines
Take care, guys.
are on.
See you later,
Until
man.
I get back.
All right, take care. See you. I'm gonna transition to my ship. I'm gonna take yours to the safe port of Olisar. See you later.
Alright, I'm gonna make my way back to Olasan now. With
I
this
think that's
precious
much
cargo.
safer. I don't want to mess up the ship.
Oh, here I go. Alrighty, orienting towards planet destination place. Of course, I'm on the far side of the planet. Damn.
Oh, okay. Do you know how to bring up orbital markers?
Yeah, you gotta go into the bloody Navi map and then deselect the planet you're at, then reselect the planet that you're at, and then it shows the markers
Yeah.
up. You can
Yes,
OML
that's how
around
you
the
have to
planet.
do it.
There needs to be a quick way, but there isn't, so for the time being,
Yeah,
we'll
there's
just do
so
it
long
this way.
to get up there now, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, they've got other stuff on their plate, I guess. At the moment it functions.
Quantum drive is now on.
Oh, bloody radar contact. Jeez.
Quantum drive is now
Oh
off.
wow.
Hang on. Another quantum. Oh, quantum jump like 2 or 3 times between Delamar and Olazar.
Oh, there we go. Now we can do the policy.
So gravity's a weird thing because it's an extremely weak force, but its persistence is what gives it its properties.
Yes, that's the
It's
thing.
weird. It doesn't seem to have any cause other than mass.
Yes, and if we can somehow just understand how to manipulate that, that'd be great, you know.
Oh, well, you're just talking Higgs boson there, but like, it's extremely dangerous.
Oh, I,
Extremely
I,
dangerous.
I really would like to see that we have those. I really want to see like a Star Trek type ship where we could we could move around, but in the inside everything's still. Like there's no inertia on the inside.
Quantum
I
I
really
drive
get
like
what
that.
you're
is now
saying.
on.
I really do, and I've wished for that a long time as well. The problem with having gravity plating,
Emergency
uh,
stop.
not even going into the
Radar
fact that it's
contact.
extremely difficult to make, it's that you're creating instances of gravity, but you're also in a starship that's traveling in motion that has its own
Quantum drive is now
gravity.
on.
So like if you're if you're oriented upright and at the same time you're employing massive amounts of energy into inertial dampeners so that your crew aren't stuck to the wall in the forward motion of direction, but you're also creating gravity below them to keep them attached to the floor and oriented correctly.
Quantum drive is now off.
It's extremely difficult, and it actually costs twice as much energy to do that. Now, there is a practical common design that we could employ today, and that is to simply build mushroom type ships that, if you imagine them turned on their side, almost like a flying saucer, if you imagine it travels in the direction of the top of the saucer, that's its forward. So when you're standing, the speed of your acceleration closer and closer to your top speed keeps you on the floor and provides you the gravity that you need because you are technically traveling up to your orientation, but you've done it that way. In fact, flying saucers really are the most practical and most likely the most common design of starship that there could be because of its inherent design.
Oh, that's interesting.
So you know all those like little green alien men which people claim to have seen and stuff like that, and they're always like, oh, you know, the flying saucer is just the inside of it's just kind of like a smooth room. That's pretty much what it would look like. Is you'd have a nice orientation, and your acceleration is what keeps you on the floor.
Oh, oh
And then
wow.
to decelerate. In fact, have you ever seen the movie Forbidden Planet?
No, I've never seen that.
Oh, you'd love it. It's one of the first sci-fi movies ever made, and it was in color, and it stars a young Leslie Nielsen as the captain of the ship. And the concept that I'm talking about is like demonstrated in the first 5 minutes, because when they're at hyperspeed or at light speed, fast and light speed, they're slowly brought up to that speed, and their bodies are spared the inertial change by being protected inside these kind of
Oh,
pod areas. So you know how in Star Trek they stand in a room that's like a teleporter, and they got a disc on the floor and a disc above them. Well, in Forbidden Planet, when they accelerate and decelerate, they hop into these gravity barriers, which hold them in place while the ship exceeds or decelerates from its maximum top speed, so that they're spared the inertial tearing that would liquefy them. And the ship
wow.
they fly in is a flying saucer as well, and it's interesting because they use the same principle. They fly up, and that's what keeps them on the floor.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, like, but we can only hope that it turns out like the Star Trek with gravity plating and that whole kind of thing. If there was some way of doing it without using a fudge ton of energy, like if there was some kind of rare element that produces gravity because it's so dense or something like that, but then you'd have density problems and you'd have mass issues. So you'd have to find a way of exceeding the speed of light, but your ship weighs so much. Space is
Oh, that,
weird.
that
space,
really is.
space
Oh
is really
wow.
weird.
Yes, that really is something.
Oh yeah, but I ramble. So space gets me excited.
No, I find it interesting. It's quite fascinating.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Because of my fascination for sci-fi my whole life, it's constantly comes up against my understanding, or at least limited understanding of how science and not just motion and energy, but energy and motion in zero G operates completely different than most would expect.
Oh,
Yeah, it's weird. It's like you can use gyroscopes to reorient something in space simply by having a spinning wheel that has a weighted side, and then the gyroscope orients the ship. Really weird forces at work there.
yes, that is bizarre.
Yeah, gravity's weird too. I really like how gravity in like the last couple of years, gravity itself has been the concept of most sci-fi movies that have made it budget. Um, I mean, Interstellar was all about gravity. The movie Gravity was all about gravity. So, um,
I really think that if we could just somehow create, like inertia cancellation, gravity, anti-gravity, and even uh warp drive, all that, it would just be so wonderful.
well, funny thing about warp drive is that NASA and JPL and ESA have all created tabletop versions of warp bubbles. They've got a process that allows them to make. They've recorded these tiny little instances of warp space on a tabletop level, and they're already at
Oh
that level. So
wow.
it's like a decade and a half, and we're making warp bubbles around ships.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's
What
crazy.
amazing times we're living in. Oh, yes.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's good. I mean, really, like
Actually, speaking of that, there is even a group of people that are working on how to live forever. They're investing billions of dollars in research, and they're actually coming out with some amazing discoveries in that
it's
field.
funny you should say
So,
that. That's also a field that
um,
I'm interested in as well.
yes, they're saying that there's a telomerons or telomerase or whatever. It's these strands that if
Yep,
you make them longer, it increases one's life. And there's another
T
thing
strains. Yeah,
where the DNA has a certain structure that if you remove certain components, you stop the aging process or even reverse it. It's quite amazing, and they're already having some programs or treatments for some people who are willing to spend the big bucks, but they're willing to try the therapies. And I think they start out from 150,000 to $1 million, but they're definitely trying very hard to figure out how to stop aging, which is great.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I've got a number of different ideas on the aging process, and you're right. You're referencing the caloric intake um, method as well as so they recommend lowering calorie intake, which slows down your body's cellular division, which slows down the aging process. But then there's also people talking about just snipping off the ends of certain strands of DNA before they snip themselves off, and snipping them off creates a cellular regeneration that creates the strand again. So they want to be able to make it so that anytime a telomerate is about to split and break off the end of the cellular strand, they want to make it so that it repairs instead of splitting, which is interesting because that presents a lot of. There's a few problems with that, which is one of the reasons why it's being moved towards slower than people would think. Because if you're talking about switching on telomerase that activate cellular, that are supposed to activate cellular death, talking about keeping those on, how do you determine in the system? What's the method of telling the system which ones to keep on and which ones to keep off? Like, are you going to tell, fingernail cells to not die So then all of a sudden you just have like skin flaps where your hard nails should be because the cells didn't die. You know, they're like, that's an example. You've also got problems with like hair and skin shedding and stuff like that. Then you've got waste and excrement. Like a lot of your dead cells are processed through your intestinal tract, and your intestines have gut bacteria in there that recycle and reuse dead bacteria inside you as defense mechanisms to enhance your immune system. Whew, that was a mouthful. But your gut bacteria also relies on cellular death as well. So there's a short-term solution in the meantime, which, funnily enough, is actually pretty much on the female gender, and that is altering a small amount of DNA in the ovarian and in the fertilization sector of the female DNA, and that is to extend the life and duration of the ovaries and the egg vessels themselves, so that you could engineer women to age slower. You could almost make women live twice as long, or at least stay youthful for twice as long, by engineering their reproductive system slightly so as to continue to produce eggs. Because basically, the moment a woman ceases producing eggs, the aging process goes into overdrive, menopause kicks in, they immediately stop producing as much estrogen, body ramps up the production of testosterone, and testosterone actually shortens your lifespan. So basically, once females get this really smooth, healthy period right up until menopause, and then from menopause onwards, it's a slow downhill as testosterone takes over, and then the testosterone eventually, alters the women. That's why older women look less feminine and less fertile, is because that goes away.
I noticed that as they get older, their faces become longer and gaunt. And
it's particularly noticeable in Asian women. You ever notice that Asian women stay quite young looking right up until a certain point, and then it's like boom, overnight, little old lady. That there's something in their DNA which makes them like that. And I think that in the short term, between humans now, where we have a lifespan that is X amount of years, to in the future we hope to have humans go for X amount of years, in the triple digits. I think in the short term, making women fertile for longer can at least make females live longer, which I think is beneficial for the human race, because we need to keep making babies to even have a successful race. So in the short term, making women live longer is a good idea, or being fertile for longer, because then women who are in a position to be mothers for longer can remain in a fertile setting for longer, so they can produce more children, they can have larger families, and that inadvertently makes them look and feel more youthful for longer.
Wow.
And that's just based solely on biology. Of course, it all hinges on eugenics and having the approval of altering living human DNA, which we are miles from that legally. We are, in fact, we're not even on the same road. We decided a long time ago that we want to jump highways onto the other road and say no more, don't genetically alter human DNA.
I always have an issue with politics and legal and religion when it comes to these things. Like they lag behind so much in trying to adapt to these things or even acknowledge it.
Yep. There are a lot of factors at work. There are a lot of public interests at work as well. A lot of times the people doing the finger pointing are the ones who are culprits. Well, we have a state at the moment of political deadlock between action groups whose sole responsibility is to cause political action and their profits. So there are problems that are being brought up in the world today as political distractions for the sake of making money on both sides of any political spectrum. Well, there's an old saying that is, there's always three sides to every story: your side, their side, and the truth. Well, in this case, scientific discovery is kind of on the back burner at the moment. Science is still being done. Elon Musk is at least pioneering star flight and space travel further. He's doing things, even if most of it's publicity stunts to get the car industry up and going. Who cares? He's actually doing something.
Wonderful.
It's wonderful. It's fantastic to actually still see rockets going up into space and being put up there by somebody who cares about rockets. So, that's good.
Yes.
But
Yes,
at the
he's
same
really
time,
one of a kind, that's for sure.
we've got missiles being launched at countries that shouldn't have more missiles launched at them, regardless of what's going on. Stop launching missiles. It's really silly.
There's a lot of yes, unfortunately, I do agree there.
Yeah, I mean, it's the world we live in. There's nothing to change it. I mean, that's why I play Star Citizen, because there are no bombs here unless you want them. unless you want to bring bombs, then there are bombs. 90% of the time, you're just flying between awesome-looking planets, or trying to get Chris's ships to work.
Yes, Chris does have a lot of issues with his ships, and like all of us. But the thing is, what I like about Chris, we can feel his pain. It's like we really can understand what he's going
Oh,
through.
yeah, he's very emotive, and he gets his torment across quite
He does
accurately.
torment. That's right. He conveys the feeling very well.
Yeah, oftentimes you can tell the moment he is not doing okay, and it affects me because I don't want him to be upset. I'm like, please, Chris, please don't get
Yes, it's
upset.
like
And he
we
gets
all don't
upset, and
want
I'm
him to
like,
get upset.
Dad, no,
Yes,
like, stop.
yes. Because Chris already is very how should I say distrusting of the way the game is running.
Yes,
This and it's already with in regards to this game's stability, it's as if it's guilty until proven innocent with Chris.
yeah. And also, I mean, I think because he's got an investment in the game as well in the form of money, that's he wishes it to work better, which is fair enough. I mean, I can understand that, but at the same time, it is so pre-alpha. I dare not even start spelling the word alpha.
I know. It
It's a
shouldn't even be called.
technical
It should be called
demonstration.
pre-alpha. Yes.
It should actually still be called Star Citizen: The Persistent Universe Technical Demonstration, because that's what it is. It's literally
That
just a
is
vertical slice of a
so
game.
true. That is so true.
I mean, it was only a couple of updates ago that there wasn't even a launcher seat in launcher.
No, I remember when it was just Arena Commander. That was it. And it was just fighter ships, no multiplayers, no multiplayer ships. And then when they started having the first multiplayer ships, oh, everyone was going crazy, and the first physics grids in the ships where you could walk around, that was a thing. And then they introduced yes, that would be the introduction of Port Olisar. And so there was Port Olisar and Korea and Kovalev. And then they introduced Grimhead.
Grim
And that was
Hex.
the worst time for me because Grim Hex, every time you get a crime stat, you would be shuffled off to Grim Hex. And Grim Hex was lag city. It was lag central at that. And if you had a laptop like me and getting 5 frames a second and crashes, it was not fun because you couldn't spawn ships at Grim Hex. So you're pretty much a prisoner there. And well, there were times you could spawn ships, but there were times you couldn't. And when you couldn't, it was really bad. So
Jeez,
pretty
that
much your
sounds
first game.
sounds really bad. It's like a feedback loop. It's like because everybody inherently jumping in sometimes does stupid stuff and gets a crime stat, the game shuffles them off there, which means everyone loads up there, which causes the game to lag because everybody's there, and then you can't spawn ships because there's too many people trying to spawn ships and the airspace is full.
Not
Like,
funny. That's hilarious. That is
terrible feedback loop. That's so bad.
that is true. Very very true.
That is terrible. Oh, that is so bad. I feel bad. Well, I approached that planet too fast. I was a goose, and I walked away from my computer. And I was going much faster than I thought I was. Oops. Oh my goodness, this game, I swear. Okay, where am I going? I don't think I'm going to be able to. I don't know. Should be fine. Just trying to get to Kudra. Oh, it's proving to be difficult. Alrighty, it was a Grecium from Kudra, wasn't it? Yeah.
It's Magnesium, and you're gonna earn 145% per minute.
Nice.
That's the earning potential.
Alright. Oh, on top speed approach, 60 kms out. That should be long enough to jump up and get down. Well,
How are you doing so far?
that's good. That's fine. I've been considering MR to the 600i.
Yes, you should really. That 600i is so beautiful.
I was looking at it last night and I was like, you know what? That's actually, and it's only, it would just be $30 extra to turn in the Aurora for that. And I'm like, $30? It's nothing. Spend that, buying a t-shirt. Might as well spend it buying some fun. And it's a very pretty ship. Oh my goodness, it looks so pretty.
It's a beautiful ship, yes.
Sleek, smooth, very nice design. It's got twice as much storage if you go for the storage hauler one, which I'd be right into. I'm not the shooty type. I'm a lover, not a fighter. I prefer to ship cargo and make friends and eat food and drink beer.
So far, this universe is rather gritty and dark, and those just kind of give the universe a very light feeling for a change,
Yeah, it's like It's like the difference between buying, say, your first car, which is like a beat up old bomb, and then when you finally start getting a little bit of money and you go out and you buy yourself a really nice, not brand new, it's got a couple years depreciation on it, so it's come down in price, but it looks modern and it's got a few mod cons in it, and you're like, yeah, it's got cruise control and smooth sides and the mirrors fold out. Nice. That's what it feels like. It's like the step up.
It definitely does feel like that.
And what a great starter ship too. $50, you get good insurance, you get a little bit of starting cash. You know that if that was my first package when I first got the game, that would have been tops. Started off with the Aurora.
That's one thing I love about this game. Things get better as time passes. Things get much better as time passes.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely gotten a lot better. But I also like how they just keep like the content is still there. It's like they're releasing as much content into this tech demonstration as they would a full-fledged game, but they're also at the same time building a game. That's the thing. People forget that they're actually working two uphill battles at the moment because they've got to keep people interested because they've got 2 million followers.
I would say this game is doing a lot of firsts, and it really is paving the way for other games, and it's doing a lot of things for the first time that's never been done before. That right there is where you can tell it's a landmarking in the industry. It's almost a like when they talk about ray tracing being the holy grail. That this is the holy grail of game design, I think.
Well, yes, exactly. I mean, like, the thing is, like, people would, I don't know who was talking about it. It was some people talking about it a few years ago. They were like, oh, the future of game design is a bunch of independent studios all across the world, all contracting out their individual services and forming, a corporation that way. And I was like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But I was afraid of, it losing out in the design, the production, and its implementation because of it. Like, worried that because it wasn't all being built under one roof, there wasn't this synergy of thought behind it. But that's another problem I think that was unpredicted when they started this idea of building the game in modular form. Is that it's one thing to say, oh, we're going to hire brilliant IT people, brilliant game designers from around the world, and it's another thing to actually find them and hire them to begin with. So that's the third factor of the problem this game's up against as well, is that finding good and retaining good talent as well. Talent that's consistent to the game's design. That's been a difficult challenge. And I think they're toppling that hurdle because it looks like from a lot of the dev videos that there are some consistent faces, particularly in the core design team. So it's good to see that at least the same minds are working on the same game.
Yes, that is true. It really is good to see that.
Yeah. So
and it's good to know that that we're. It's good to know that there's other people that have that same vision as we do. That are the same desires, and that we're so confident that we'll be able to realize our dreams through their dreams.
And that they're skilled enough to enable us to trust them. Because there's a lot of trust between those expecting and those expectant. Like it's the ones making it have a lot at stake here, and the ones waiting for it have a lot invested. I think that's kind of what made No Man's Sky hurt in the long run, was that promised a universe and delivered 3 planets. Did you see that? Oh, you might have, you might not have. There was somebody posted a picture or like a clip online. There was pictures of it, of the dev files, like the actual game files for No Man's Sky, and there's a folder that says planets 1, 2, 3. It's just one cycle.
Wow.
Yeah, so the whole idea of it being procedural is it's semi-procedural. There's obviously a template, a base for each planet, and then it procedurally generates goo on top of it. Yeah, that was a very interesting experiment of a time. Really, it was Sony's fault.
So you like Daymar as well, huh?
I do.
I love Daymar. I just love the warm tones. I like the desert tones.
I have always been a fan of desert sci-fi. I think desert sci-fi is the best sci-fi, close to horror sci-fi.
Dune really captured that feeling, didn't it?
Yeah, Dune's a source of inspiration for me. When I was a younger guy, I used to pretend that I was Leto Atreides, and I was like right into that shit. Goodness, this is expensive. I don't want to spend all of my money. I'll spend half of my money. Purchase Acrisium. Oh yes. Man, last time I did big trade runs was in the last update, and I got to the point where I was making like 20,000 a pop profit.
Oh my.
It was good. I was just going backwards and forwards, just taking stuff. There was a mega exchange rate of like, what was it? One of those metals, titanium or something like that. And you could buy it for 29 on Kudra ore of Daymar and sell it for 97.
Oh wow.
So to start off with, it was like 10. Yeah, it was like 10,000 profit. I was mistaken. It was 10,000 profit. So like, I did that 3 or 4 times in a night. I just heaps of cash. Didn't even need to worry about money anymore. It wasn't even a problem.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was like, damn. Why is money in video games always so much easier to make than in life? God damn.
I think that real life is just way too hard. I think.
Oh, tell me about it. Tell me about it. Oh my god. Yeah, well, yeah, that's why virtual space is such a beautiful thing, and that's why, really, the only thing I'm waiting for now is for the next gen HTC Vive, the Vive Elite, which is going to be wireless and has 4K display, so you don't even get any of that fly screen effect from the other ones, and it's up close. You get that smooth 4K phone screen display,
Oh yes.
and it's like 10 inches, so the screen is huge and encompasses basically nearly all of your primary vision and all of your primary vision and a little of your peripheral vision, so much so that if you're looking forward and moving your head, it's like you're really there. And then
That's great.
on top of that, there are guys at the moment working out a couple of labs in the US. They're making haptic feedback suits that tie, or like gloves and apparatus that tie into the VR space as well, so that
Oh really? Oh
you wear the
wow.
gloves, and in the game, in the virtual space, when you pick something up, glove has tensioning wires in the fingers that actually constrict your movement, so that if you pick up a rock, it stops you at a certain point, so your hand can't close anymore, and it restricts your movement, and it feels like you're holding an object because you can't close your hand anymore. And then when you release it in the game, then it releases the tension on your fingers and you return to normal. where things are happening. Yeah, so you get that, but you extend it from hands, you could go full body, you could go, total, mesh over the head, and then wearing the VR goggles, and then there's another group of guys that are working on infinite walking pads. So it's a pad that you stand on that's a couple of feet in diameter, and the direction you walk in, it scrolls in that direction too. So it's an infinite walking space that you can just keep walking on. So you combine that with the suit and the VR goggles, you got yourself a virtual space you could pretty much inhabit in your off time, and it would feel as if you're really in another place. Other than the temperature, you probably get quite warm in the apparatus, but if you had a nice air-conditioned room or a temperature-controlled room so that you could control the variant temperatures to make it hotter if you're in desert, cooler if you're in snow, you could almost simulate being in a whole other place altogether. And I envisaged that being an experience you can actually go somewhere and pay for the whole package. So you set up a business that has several booths that are lined up like this, and the person pays their money, they inhabit the space for the allotted time that they're there for.
Oh wow. By the way, what is your in-game name 5 cents?
It's 5 cents, but it's also 5 cents.
Oh.
If that makes any sense. So my username is 5 cents, like the number 5, then capital SENSE, as in senses, the human senses.
I see.
But then my in-game name is 5 cents, as in like 50 cent, but only 5 cents, because I'm poor. Or at least I was when I made this profile.
Huh.
So there you go. That's the story about how my life got turned upside down.
Wow.
Yeah, wow, I know.
What a very, very colorful.
Okay, bloody hell. I got a full tank of stuff and I'm going to Port Olisar.
Well, recovery didn't work for me. I crashed and I logged back into the instance, but I spawned 5 feet above the ground. And,
So the ship is lost?
Ship is lost, and I spawned real high off the ground, and then I fell on the ground and got. And
oh goodness!
Where to be found?
Oh.
So, I think I lost everything. This game
It's just not working out, is it?
No, they have a ways to go as far as persistence, I think.
I just don't understand why sometimes when I come out of Quantum Drive it kicks the entire ship around. Just don't get it.
It seems like every time they try to fix it, they come up with more bugs. It's almost like it's a never-ending loop of bugs. And well, of course, from my understanding, no game is ever fully fixed 100%.
No.
It must be very complicated to program this stuff.
I can imagine, just solely based on the fact that to make most video games in the 2-year cycle that they've been operating on for the last decade and a half, most of these people who built them haven't really had any life outside of what they've done. Like the game time, the production time takes up all of their lives.
Yes, it's not a 9-to-5 job, that's for sure.
Goodness, no.
I don't envy their positions. I really don't envy their work. It's very tiring.
No, I'm with you on that. Like it's rough. I mean, heck, I've worked 7-day weeks quite a lot, but like working 7-day weeks for months, God no. Every single day they go in. Like the guys building this game, you see them in the dev videos, they've got bags under their eyes. They haven't been to bed in months.
They look so tired, don't they?
It's just constant. Like Chris Roberts is like, I can imagine like when the camera's not on, he's just like, "Work, peasants," and whips them with a cat of nine tails, like in The Simpsons. When you crack it, it whips each person individually. Oh man, because they'd have to be at gunpoint. My goodness, the rate at which they release things in this is just stunning.
Yes, but I do see the life is being taken out of them. They all look exhausted. Every one of
Exhausted.
them. They really look burnt out.
And there's a lot of pressure on them too, I think, because it's such a public development. Like 2 million people are watching them.
It's like working in a kitchen, and there's like a glass window or an open. You know how some restaurants you actually can watch the chef make the pizza,
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
And so
Oh.
their work is displayed in a glass house. They work in a glass house, and that has to be quite stressful when everyone's watching.
I think my
The
game's
whole
stressed.
world is watching.
Oh, I'm gonna lose 2,000 credits because. Oh, wait, hang on. No, ho! I made it! I was selecting the console to sell stuff, and it was like gonna be really silly. How much profit? Not really that much. Transaction has failed. Insufficient stock. Okay.
Wait, how much profit did you make?
It won't let me sell the stock that I have.
Oh no.
Let's try selling half of the amount that I have. Oh, no, try again later. Okay, the console is broke. Let's try another console.
Oh, I wonder if maybe someone already, maybe they bought enough and we have to wait until the server, resets those commodities again. Sometimes you can buy too much, or sometimes they already have bought enough and then they're not going to
Oh.
buy any more. So they
It
have
got
that
approved.
mechanic as well.
On the other console, I sold an amount, a small amount, and it got approved and went through.
Oh, that's
Let's try selling
wonderful.
the rest.
And you could try all the terminals on each strut too. They're all different. That's why. There was a bug where you could buy a bunch of stuff from one terminal, and sell it at another strut for a higher price, and you don't even have to fly the ship. You don't even have to spawn it.
Just EVA.
You just buy it, load it up on the ship, then EVA to the next strut and sell it.
I think more people are playing now because it's definitely getting a lot more spikes in fidelity. So I made 157 on 2,300, something like that.
Yeah. The best thing you're gonna get really is right now is the illegal stuff, like Widow. Widow's the most lucrative. That's the one from the drug lab to Levski. But you're only getting 6% profit by doing this, but because the route is closer, you're able to get 146% per minute if you keep at it. Like if you keep doing this route nonstop, you're actually going to come out with a lot of money.
Well,
But
I mean, in just that one trip, I now have 157.
You're not going to make much. But what they're calculating as well is the length of time it takes to do that run. So if you do that run back to back nonstop, you'll come out more in the end.
And not just that, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. And there's an even better factor: compound interest. The more I make, the more I can reinvest next time. And then the more I make on the next transaction.
It grows exponentially. Yes,
Exponential.
It's compounding.
Yep. Compounding all of that interest. So every single time I do another run, I can buy more and sell more and more and more.
I love that concept, don't you? Isn't that wonderful?
Oh, capitalism! I love it. Like it's got some really good redeeming factors of like rapid wealth.
We just have to be willing to give it a chance. I think I think a lot of people don't give a lot of things in capitalism a chance, because when you think about capitalism, it really, if you know how to work it right, you can go as far as you want.
Yes.
And
I feel like it's the unnecessary enemy for an unnecessary problem. because a lot of people like to rag on it when it's effectively the source of like all the good stuff we've got. It just need the problem with it is regulatory capture, and that's the main problem with capitalism. Is over a small amount of time, regulators get captured by businesses, and they're bought out.
Regulators are, to me, the governments are the worst things ever when it comes to capitalism. Because capitalism creates pockets of prosperity where if a group wants to give, they can. They have the ability to give freely if they want. And the thing is, with when you try to centralize anything or limit everyone in a certain way, and it's just nothing ever really works when you try to do things in a very homogenized fashion. I think
the funny thing is, you're absolutely right. Like, once upon a time, there were monarchies, empires, governments of sorts, but there weren't socialist governments captured within capitalist economies like we have today. In the West, every Western country is a socialist government within a capitalist economy. And the capitalist economy hovers somewhere around 60 to 70 to 80% of private sector and roughly 20, 30, and 40% public sector, depending on what part of the world it's in. In Australia in particular, we have 80% private and 20% public. And the 20% public is what keeps, all the fucking government stuff running. But government money is based on taxes. Taxes derived from the private sector's earnings. So when you earn money,